Somewhere about 1978 or 79, Skylab was in trouble. While it did take a great many experiments and special views of the sun, it had some issues where it was not staying in orbit. It was all they could do to keep it from plunging to the Earth's atmosphere. So, while they had planned originally to put up a Skylab B, until those issues were fixed, the mission for launching Skylab B had been canceled. As of now, it is nothing more than a tourist attraction, as you can see here. In the meantime, they couldn't figure out how to get Skylab to stay in orbit. So they had to launch first priority to get the astronauts off Skylab so that they wouldn't meet their death while being in Skylab. Once the astronauts had been rescued, this was the last seen of Skylab orbiting Earth. They tried one more time to plan a rescue of Skylab. Shown here, this would have been the rocket that would have launched the rescue effort. Unfortunately, it was too late. Skylab had already entered the atmosphere, and so the mission was canceled. When I was a kid, I remember hearing this weird boom sound. Now, of course, you would have thought it was a sonic boom, but it wasn't. And so I go outside with my brother and my great-grandpa's, Grandpa Brown, and Maria Lechner's there. And we looked up in the sky above our house, saw this fire line. This here is just an example I made, a Photoshop, of what a fire line looks like. It's not exactly like a meteor or an asteroid that has fire trailing behind it. So you'd have to imagine that it was way up there in the sky. But it wasn't smoke either. It was a very bright yellowish orange-like line and not always straight. And it wasn't until the next day, as it disappeared behind the treetops of where we lived in Waterloo, that they had reported finding pieces of Skylab wherever it landed at, as indicated by the history at present. For me, because I always watched Einstein's theory of relativity, mostly instead of Sesame Street, although I did, as I said, on occasion, when I was bored, and Carl Sagan shows. For me, it was like I had lost my favorite cat or favorite dog as a kid. And so I was kind of saddened by this because Skylab was like the new frontier, and having it burn up in the atmosphere, except for what they found of it, was kind of a sad day for me. I am glad that the astronauts were rescued and nobody had died as a result of it. But it would be well remembered that it was the very first small space station orbiting our planet. As the war continued with the Carpenters, I would like the record to show that I don't believe in my heart all carpenters are bad. After all, we had the famous singers. And while I may not know them very well because I was a kid when they put out their music, I would like to think that they were not racist, but very good singers. As to the other carpenters, they did not like the idea that we were now starting our 4th grade year in Oak Grove, Arkansas. And unfortunately, I didn't get to finish school in Oak Grove. So one day, we're out in the orchard, because, again, this is not small property in Waterloo. A white truck shows up, and Pete and I thought it was kind of strange. It wasn't Halloween, so why would they be wearing a costume? They opened the tailgate, and there was 2 German Shepherd dogs. Apparently, Maria Lechner already knew what was up. because he already had many problems with him before. And it wasn't like they were going to release the dogs on Peter and I, because they saw her as well, and she'd be a witness. And obviously, they're going to get away with murdering children by allowing dogs to rip them apart. You want to make sure there's no witnesses. What they failed to do is bring a gun. Unfortunately, they didn't expect Maria Lechner to have one, as she owned many. And so she had Pete and I go to the house. We peeked over the windowsill once in our bedroom, and apparently they were in a rush to get back in the truck after loading their dogs with their bed sheets and pillowcases on, and drove off. A few days later, either J.T. Martin and his wife Marie Martin, or Betty Bailey, or when she had other friends come over, explained to them the whole situation. The only part I heard was that she told friends who visited, she basically laid down the law that they were going to have to go through her in order to stick the dogs on Pete and I, and we were just kids. And considering she had cerebral palsy, probably was another reason why the KKK would be a little worried. They wouldn't be killed right away, but they would probably bleed a slow, agonizing death. She could aim for their head and shoot their nuts off, and they'd be a eunuch, never able to have sex with their wife again, or have kids. She told them that she was going to drop the dogs first, and then drop them. And I wouldn't put it past her, because she was so tired of their trespassing, poisoning her dog, cutting her prized rose bush, and nothing seemed to be done about it. So I guess that gave them something to worry about, and they didn't linger, and they took off.
It was too much morning, out of my head, no. I went to the bottom, good God Almighty. I went to the bottom, out of my head, no. With a big pound diamond, good God Almighty. With a big pound diamond, oh, Lord, no. Saw the captain riding, good God Almighty. Saw the captain riding, oh, Lord, no. Oh, Captain, won't you help me, good God Almighty. Oh, Captain, won't you help me, oh, Lord, no. I'm down in trouble, good God Almighty. I'm down in trouble, oh, Lord, no. I don't want to see Julie, good God Almighty. I don't want to see Julie, oh, Lord. Now Julie and the baby, good God Almighty. Now Julie and the baby, oh, Lord, no. Well, go get the sergeant, good God Almighty. Now go get the sergeant, oh, Lord, no. Well, put it by radar, good God Almighty. Well, they put it by radar, oh, no. And across Big Bradley, good God Almighty. And across Big Bradley, oh, no. I'm going to see the baby, good God Almighty. I'm going to see the baby, oh, no. Let the baby's worry, good God Almighty. When the baby's worry, oh, no. She's worried about the daddy, good God Almighty. She's worried about the daddy, oh, no. I'm down in trouble, good God Almighty. I'm down in trouble, oh, no. Ain't got nobody, good God Almighty.
Well, there was a time that came that after what we didn't know was Uncle John had visited Maria Lechner because she built a great marble using telephone poles that were treated, swelling up her aorta, and she had her first time heart attack. That some property of hers was due to go into probate hearing. Apparently, I saw something or heard something, and I guess I was supposed to give some type of testimony. I don't remember now because it's been so long ago. I think I was prompted by Maria Lechner what to testify to. Well, I'll get to that in a bit. Unfortunately, what was considered to be Uncle John, who was the, if I understood correctly, the husband to my mother, who I didn't know was my mother when she visited, got killed in a log truck accident. So, long story short, we end up going from Waterloo, Arkansas, all the way to Arlington, Washington. She decided to have us, though it was a sad day because that means we'd never go to Oak Grove again, and all because of the KKK being racist bastards, to a private school in Stanwood, Washington. The property, although this is just kind of a fictional look to it, I'm pretty sure it might have had a grass road at the time, but for some reason she was out wanting Pete and I to operate pickaxes, even though we're kids, for doing something to the property. I didn't understand that bit, because if you're going to sell it, what's the point of digging in the mud and pulling up weeds? She didn't intend to keep it. Maybe she was just angry and wanting to take it out on Pete and I and make us dig in the mud with pickaxes or something. In any case, never could understand that. Well, we lived in Arlington, and we had an apartment on a steep hill by what's called the Arlington Boys Club. And it's also there that she got her own step-side truck. She had a gold car, but she didn't care for it too much because it had a Cadillac converter. The school, which I was surprised, still stands. In fact, this is the only school that I'm able to get a picture of. It was known as the Seventh Day Adventist Theater Chess Home or something like that school. And Don Jewett was one of my friends, and Geraldine was another crush I had. I think Geraldine was more interested in Don Jewett than me, which was fine, you know. But in any case, this was the school that we went to. I was continuing my 4th grade year here, and they even had a food bank. During that time, Mount St. Helens, as we all know, was quite the mountain. It had quite the scenery even. But one day, most unexpectedly, we felt an earthquake. We didn't know what it was about until the news came on that Mount St. Helens blew its top. At that time, the probate hearing was over, and she agreed to sell what we call ski resort property, because that's probably what it ended up being, to whoever bought it. And so now we were preparing to go back to Arkansas, especially after we had heard the news that her husband, crippled and blind, retired judge of Frederick Harper, Washington, as I was told to me, and before that an attorney, Leslie Ambrose Lechner, had passed away in a rest home in Hope, Arkansas, and after getting his last rites, was buried in Murfeesboro, Arkansas. Murfreesboro, Arkansas is or at least it was at the time, a popular site to go to. Now, when people think of a mine, you're thinking like a cave, but then again, a mine could mean what you're doing. You're mining for something. It looked like a plowed field because it was a very volcanic area, or used to be. And we went there once when I was a kid. I think the most I came up with was crystals, but the deal was if you happen to find a diamond, or a very good sized one. You would turn it in to the person where you dug because they allowed you to do so. It was something like fun to do. And so you would turn it in, or you could keep it, but if you did choose to turn it in, they would pay you based on the carat weight. So you could make money by digging around out there. In any case, Leslie Ambrose Lechner was laid to rest in Murfeesboro, home of the creator of diamonds. As you can see here, it was a popular spot back in the 70s. Everybody thought, well, hey, it could be fun. What if I get lucky and find a diamond? I'll just turn it in, sell it for the carat weight, and I'll make money digging around in the dirt. It was the thing to do at the time. I can't say for certain this is the actual cemetery where he's laid to rest. I believe this is a military cemetery, but there are quite a few cemeteries in Murfeesboro. And he is laid to rest somewhere under the name Leslie Ambrose Lechner. Well, meantime, we're on the way back to Arkansas because she decided that it was time to move. Her husband now is gone and she's a widower. She had no intention of remarrying. As you see here, state troopers had to redirect freeway traffic because of the ongoing rumblings after the major explosion of Mount St. Helens. The eclastic cloud, I guess they called it, although I called it a pumice cloud because I thought that's what pumice blocks were made from, was you had to wait till a volcano erupted to make a pumice block. Again, being a kid, what was such a thing? So he had to redirect this on a different route, so we wouldn't be going past the point in case there'd be cars on the freeway, and the force of an eclastic cloud was so violent that it would actually stretch many miles, even across the interstate. So we had to go on a different route, directed by the state police of Washington State. Venomous Snakes by Wikipedia, a free online encyclopedia. Venomous snakes are species of the suborder Serpentes that are capable of producing venom, which they use for killing prey, for defense, and to assist with digestion of their prey. The venom is typically delivered by injection using hollow or grooved fangs, although some venomous snakes lack well-developed fangs. Common venomous snakes include the families Elapidae, Viperidae, Atrataspididae, and some of the Colubridae. The toxicity of the venom is mainly indicated by murine LD50, while multiple factors are considered to judge the potential danger to humans. Other important factors for risk assessment include the likelihood that a snake will bite, the quantity of venom delivered with the bite, the efficiency of the delivery mechanism, and the location of a bite on the body of the victim. Snake venom may have both neurotoxic and hemotoxic properties. For Arkansas State, we have the venomous snakes, and the copperhead is known as statewide. Pit viper, keeled scales, gray, tan, or light brown with 7 to 20 dark brown, light-edged, hourglass-shaped crossbands is what makes the copperhead. The head can be gray, brown, or reddish. The belly is cream-colored with dark gray, brown, or black blotches. The young resemble adults, except the tail tip is bright yellow or greenish yellow. Adults 24 to 36 inches in length. Next is the venomous snake, cottonmouth. And the one I remember from childhood had laid across on our porch, and me and my brother had stayed in the truck because it was all jet black colored. And we couldn't get in the house because the way it was laying, it was also going across the doorway. So if you cross over it, you could get struck and then die from the poison. This particular one would probably most likely be the female. Its range is statewide, uncommon in upland streams of Ozark Highlands and Ouachita Mountains. The description of the cottonmouth is a pit viper, keeled scales, heavy-bodied, dark, olive brown to black, indistinct dark crossbands, except for when animal is wet. White upper lip, black stripe from snout onto neck. The belly is mottled with black, brown, and cream-colored blotches. The young are brightly banded like copperhead, turning darker with age. Tail tip is yellow or greenish yellow. The adults can average up to 24 to 36 inches in length. So again, this would be the male cottonmouth, which can range anywhere up to 3 to 4, maybe 5 feet long, from what I remember from my childhood. The next one is the timber rattler. The timber rattler is known statewide. It is a pit viper, keeled scales. Head and body can be gray, yellow, grayish or yellowish, brown with 1534 V-shaped black bands on the body, rusty or reddish stripe down center of back. Tail is jet black. Origin of the name velvet tail rattler. Young are patterned like the adults, and the adults can average 36 to 60 inches in length. The next one is the western pygmy rattler. Its range is statewide, lacking records for most of the Mississippi Delta. Description is pit viper, keeled scales, brownish or bluish gray, 20-30 black blotches on the back, black blotches along sides, orange or yellowish brown stripe down center of back, black stripe from eye to corner of mouth. Belly is dusky cream color with black or brown blotches. Young are patterned like the adults. Adults can range from 15 to 20 inches in length. Coral snake mimics. Not a whole information is given by Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia, from what I could find, but there is a difference between the mimics and what is called the models. The only brief information found is that it's under something like mimicry, or redirected from mimic, where it briefly says that snakes and the deadly coral snakes are mimics, whereas the false coral snakes are the model. An example is that in Wassermannian mimicry, the mimic resembles a model that is not poisonous. And as I had figured, that at the time when I described earlier about a coral snake that was in an old wood pile, well, I was definitely right. It was none other than the Texas coral snake. The Texas coral snake usually are reserved in certain locations. In this case, Waterloo happens to be one of the regions that it is found in because it's the southern bottom part of Arkansas, about 2/3 to the northwest. The range is southern Arkansas, west of the old Cheetah River and south of the Little Missouri River. Description is smooth scales, head and body banded in brilliant red, yellow, and black. Bands completely encircle body. Young are patterned like adults. The adults can average 20 to 30 inches in length. Remember the saying, red touch black, venom lack. Red touch yellow, kill a fellow. Then our next one is the scarlet snake. The scarlet snake is known statewide. It covers a lot more area than the Texas coral. It is considered to be harmless, smooth scales, orange or red, incomplete bands, bordered with black on a white or yellowish cream base. Belly is white or yellowish cream without markings. Snout is pointed. Young are patterned like adults. Adults can range anywhere from 14 to 20 inches in length. Hear the saying, red touch black, venom lack. Now, the next one that we will come to is the water snakes. The next one we have here is also statewide. I almost forgot this one. It is known as the milk snake. Not that it actually has milk or anything, or maybe it just has kind of a milky band. It is harmless, smooth-scaled, wide range, or red bands, bordered with black, separated by white, or grayish or yellowish white bands. Head can be either red or black, belly marked with black and white checkerboard, or red, white, and black bands extend onto belly. Young are patterned like adults, and the adults can average 16 to 28 inches in length. Water snakes. From Wikipedia, the free online encyclopedia. It only has a brief description that different snakes are called water snakes. Water snake is also sometimes used as a descriptive term for any snake that spends a significant time in or near water, such as any species belonging to the family Acrocordidae. They should not be confused with sea snakes, which live primarily or entirely in marine environments. Examples of snakes called water snakes include from family Boidae, the green anaconda, known to swallow a human whole, is the water boa. And again, no one's lived long enough to tell the tale of whether or not the anaconda can swallow a human whole or not, because most likely they've been digested. So, in Arkansas State, we have the Mississippi green water snake. Ranges Mississippi Delta and coastal plains. And, however, according to the state of Arkansas, it also covered Waterloo. Its keeled scales, body is drab olive green or olive brown, with an indistinct pattern of narrow black crossbars across back, alternating with similar black bars along the sides. Belly is dark brown or dark gray pattern with yellowish or yellowish cream half moons. Young resemble the adults, and the adults range anywhere from 30 to 45 inches in length. Next is the plain belly water snake. The plain belly water snake range is almost statewide. Definitely covers Waterloo, Arkansas. Apparently absent from north central Ozarks. Has keeled scales, an olive gray, dark greenish gray, or brownish black body, sometimes with distinct crossbars on the back. The belly is uniformly yellow, yellowish cream, or light orange yellow. Young are strongly patterned with large, dark, blackish brown blotches on the back and sides. This pattern fades with age, and adults can range anywhere from 30 to 48 inches in length. The next one is broad-banded water snake. The broad-banded water snake ranges from the Mississippi Delta and coastal plain, also found in areas of eastern Ozark and Ouachita Mountains. Description is that it has keeled scales. Body has 11 to 17 broad, irregular shaped, dark brown, reddish brown, or black crossbands. And let's see. Also, it is separated by yellow, orange, or yellowish gray. The belly is yellow or cream colored with large dark brown or reddish brown blotches. The young are patterned like adults, but more brightly colored. Adults average 22 to 36 inches in length. The next one is diamondback water snake. The diamondback water snake range is coastal plain Mississippi Delta and the valleys of the Arkansas and White Rivers. It has keeled scales. Head and body can be light brown, yellowish, or olive. A series of black crossbars with light edges forms a chain-like pattern on the back. The belly is cream or yellowish with scattered black or brown crescent-shaped spots. Young are patterned like adults, and the adults range from 30 to 48 inches in length. And the next one is northern water snake. The northern water snake range is statewide, but uncommon in the Delta. It has keeled scales, light brown or gray with dark brown or reddish brown bands on the forebody and alternating rows of brown and gray blotches on back and sides of hind body. Light belly with dark brown, orange, or yellow, red, and gray half moons. Young are brightly colored, patterned like adults. Adults are range anywhere from 24 to 42 inches in length. Terrestrial snakes. Unfortunately, according to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia, the topic for this type of snake does not exist yet. It can only be theorized that a terrestrial snake is one who is like territorial. So if you come across one, it will of course try to frighten you, although it'd probably be more frightened of you because you're in its territory. This one is the terrestrial snake racer. It is ranges statewide. Description is smooth scales, a snake of variable color pattern depending on location. Central Arkansas's body and belly are black, throat and chin white. Mississippi Delta, body slate gray, belly gray, blue-black, mask-like stripe on side of head. In the coastal plain, it's body black, bluish or olive speckled with white, yellow, cream, or pale blue scales. In the Ozarks, its body is olive, dull green, or blue-green, belly bright, yellow to pale creamy yellow. The young are boldly patterned with brown or red-brown blotches and small dark spots on the sides. The adults can range anywhere from 30 to 60 inches in length. The next one is the black rat snake. Okay. Although I'm thinking they can eat any rat that's of any color. So the Great Plains rat snake range let's see, did I get that right? Let's check that out again. I could have sworn that wasn't one of them, but nope, it's not Great Plains. My apologies. It's black rat snake. The Great Plains snake does exist though, but it's more up in the northern part of Arkansas, nowhere near the place where me and my brother lived in Waterloo, Arkansas. So, in which case then, the information on the black rat snake is still, it's statewide, and the scales along back are weakly keeled, a large skinny black snake with white upper lip, chin, and throat. Belly is white or creamy yellow with indistinct black blotches on the forward portion changing to mottled white, yellow, gray, or brown on the hind portion of the body. Young have patterned body with light gray, dark brown to black blotches on back and sides with black band between eyes extending down to the corner of mouth. Adults average 42 to 72 inches in length. Next one is the eastern hognose snake. Eastern hognose snake ranges statewide, but very localized populations. It is a stocky snake with upturned snout, highly variable ground color, can be tan, black, olive, yellow, red, orange, or gray. Can be uniform in color or have a series of 20 to 30 brown or black blotches on back and bands on the tail. The belly can be gray, yellow, olive, or red mottled with green, gray, or gray. Young pattern with brightly colored tan, yellow, brown, or orange blotches. The adults average 20 to 33 inches in length. Next one is the prairie king snake. The prairie king snake is probably like an American version of the cobra. Its range is almost statewide, apparently absent from east of the White River. The description is smooth, shiny scales, a brown-gray, or tan snake, patterned with darker brown or red-brown, dark-edged, saddle-shaped blotches and bands. Top of head usually display backward pointing arrowhead mark. Old adults often become very dark. Belly is white or yellow with dark rectangular markings. Young pattern like adults, but more brightly colored. Adults average 30 to 42 inches in length. Next one is the speckled king snake, which again is like the North American version of a cobra. That is called a king snake. The speckled king snake range is statewide. It has smooth, shiny scales. Body is black or dark brown, speckled with yellow or white spots. Spots sometimes form narrow bars on the back. Belly is yellow, patterned with irregular, rectangular black markings. The young resemble adults, and the adults can average 36 to 48 inches in length. Next one is the coach whip snake. The coach whip snake range is almost statewide, absent from Mississippi Delta. The description is that it has smooth scales, a large, slender snake. Forward 2/3 of body is black, hind portion of body is tan or red brown. Sometimes entire body is black. Belly may be yellow, tan, brown, or pink. Young pattern with a dark brown crossbands against a tan or yellow brown background on the fore portion of body. Adults average 42 to 60 inches in length. Next is the rough green snake. And this one I definitely remember from childhood in Waterloo, Arkansas, because we had our fan going during the summer, and I guess we were having lunch, and two of them decided to crawl up the dining room screen window, flicking their tongue and just looking around. Very brightly green and very skinny, so mostly I don't think Maria Lechner killed them because she already knew what they were and they were not poisonous. They were basically crawling around in the elderberry trees, probably eating bugs and elderberries. The range is statewide. Description is keeled scales. The slender-bodied, bright green snake has a white or cream-colored belly. The tail is very long and makes up almost 40% of the total body length. The tail is used as an anchor when the snake is moving through the branches of bushes and brush. Young resemble adults. And adults average anywhere from 22 to 32 inches in length. The next one is the western ribbon snake. The western ribbon snake range is statewide. Has keeled scales, a striped snake with a yellow or orange stripe down center of back, and two creamy yellow stripes on the sides. These light stripes are separated by two wide black stripes along the head, along the back. The head is black with a yellow or orange spot on the top. The belly is cream colored or very pale green, and the young pattern like adults. Adults can average 20 to 30 inches in length. They're sometimes often called a garden snake, and I'm not sure, but if I remember correctly from memory, they probably won't bite you, or at least not. If they do, it's not hard, but you'll definitely want to wash your hands because they give off a very bad odor. Not something you'd want to eat with a sandwich. The next one is the common garter snake. The common garter snake range is statewide. It has keeled scales, a striped snake with three light-colored yellow, green, or blue stripes on the back, with two wide olive, black, or brown stripes. Between the center light stripe and the stripes on either side, belly is white, green, or gray. The young resemble adults, and the adults range anywhere from 18 to 24 inches in length. Next is the mud snake, sometimes called a crayfish snake, depending on the environment it lives in. So in a sense, there's two types of mud snakes. The mud snake range is Mississippi Delta and coastal plains. It has glossy, smooth scales. Body is blue-black to black above. Belly is red to crimson red, checkered with black bars. Red belly color extends onto the lower sides of the body. The young resemble adults, and adults can range anywhere from 40 to 54 inches in length. This thoroughly aquatic snake inhabits cypress, tupelo, gum swamps, bottomland hardwood sloughs, and the margins of cypress-lined oxbow lakes. Sometimes it's active from April to October, and it breeds in spring. So if there is a place for crayfish, then it would be known as the crayfish snake. But then again, muddy areas like quicksand, as it is too light to be sinking in quicksand, would then make it known as the mud snake. Graham's crayfish snake is the next one. Graham's crayfish snake range is Mississippi Delta and coastal plains, isolated record from the western Arkansas River Valley. It has keeled scales, a brown or yellow-brown snake with yellow or dusky cream-colored stripes along with the lower sides of the body. Belly is white or cream with a zigzag pattern of dark brown spots along the outer edge. The young pattern like the adults, and adults range anywhere from 18 to 28 inches in length. And finally, the glossy crayfish snake. The glossy crayfish snake range is Mississippi Delta and coastal plains. It has keeled scales, a brown to olive brown snake with a tan stripe along the sides of the body, just above the belly. Belly is cream-colored patterned with 2 rows of black spots. Young pattern like the adults, and the adults average 14 to 24 inches in length. The information, according to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia for woodland snakes, unfortunately does not exist, at least not yet. The next snake, then, of course, is the eastern and western worm. Now, the eastern and western worm, which probably means it covers 2 different areas, ranges from Cowley's Ridge, Ozark Plateau, Ouachita Mountains, and western coastal plain. It has shiny, smooth scales. Eastern worm snake has uniform brown above belly and 1 to 2 scale rows above are pink. The western worm snake is purplish black or black above belly and 3 scale rows above are pink. Head is flattened to aid in burrowing. The young resemble adults, and adults can range anywhere from 7 to 11 inches in length. The next snake is the ringneck snake. The ringneck snake range statewide, but only 2 records known east of the White River. Description is smooth scales. Head and body can be gray, black, blue-black, or gray-brown. Belly is yellow with black spots. It has conspicuous yellow or light orange ring around the neck. The young pattern like adults, and adults can range from 10 to 14 inches in length. The next snake is the brown snake. The brown snake range is statewide. It has scales keeled. Color can vary from light yellow, brown, gray, red, brown to dark brown. Light gray or brown stripe down center of back, bordered by 2 rows of black, brown, or dark gray spots. Belly can be cream colored, pink, or yellow. Top of head is dark with 2 large black spots on either side of neck. Young pattern like adults, but darker. Adults average 9 to 13 inches in length. The next snake is the red belly snake. The red belly snake range is statewide, but very few records from the Mississippi Delta. Description is scales keeled, body may be gray, brown, red-brown, yellow-brown, or blue-black. The belly generally is red, but can be yellow, black, or orange, or pink. The head is darker than body. Nape of neck has 3 light spots, often forming a collar. The young pattern like adults, and the adults range average is 8 to 10 inches in length. The next one is the flathead snakes. Flathead snakes range from Ozark Plateau, Ouachita Mountains, coastal plains, and one known locality from Crowley's Ridge, absent from Mississippi Delta. Scales are smooth, a small light brown, tan, or red-brown snake with a salmon pink belly. The head is dark brown or gray. The young resemble adults, and adults can range from 7 to 8 inches in length. The next snake is the rough earth snake. The rough earth snake range from statewide, very few records for Mississippi Delta. It has keeled scales on back, body is uniform brown, red-brown, or gray. Belly is white, cream-colored, or light gray. The snake must be examined closely to distinguish it from the smooth earth snake. Young resemble the adults, and the adults range from 7 to 10 inches in length. And finally, the last one is smooth earth snake. The smooth earth snake range from the Ozark Plateau, Ouachita Mountains, and coastal plain, absent from Crowley's Ridge and Mississippi Delta. Description is smooth or weakly keeled scales, a plain colored body. Body is brown, gray, or red-brown. Belly is white, cream-colored, or light yellow. Young resemble adults, and adults range from 7 to 10 inches in length. For more information on Arkansas snakes, you should check out the Arkansas Snake Guide, which you can download in a PDF file. I wanted to make one correction when I said there was no Head Start, preschool, or kindergarten. Well, I was right about the Head Start and preschool for myself. There was a time that after being illegally adopted, we had to go to Baker, Oregon. And there we picked up Maria Lechner's stepdad, J.G. Brown. And that was after his wife, Dolores O'Brown, had passed on and was buried in Baker, Oregon. While there, and helping him get his place settled and sold, we had visits from Maria Lechner's baby brother, Dan, or sometimes known as Don Kelly, and his first wife. And I and my brother first started at the Seventh Day Adventist um, kindergarten, but I guess my brother had some issues that had to be dealt with, and not that I mean anything bad by it, because not a whole lot was told to me. So he was transferred from the um, kindergarten class of the Seventh Day Adventist church in Baker, Oregon to a Baker, Oregon Head Start. Either way, we never did, the two of us, me and my brother Pete, ever attend a preschool. So I just wanted to get that corrected. In the meantime, it is amazing how uh, a document put out in 1973, which is the true revelation of the pagan holiday Easter, could spark so many memories starting in 1973 with a little bit of a look back and moving on forward from that point. So in any case then, there is one thing that's kind of significant that is not native of Waterloo, Arkansas, and whether it survived or not is uncertain. There was a time when one of Maria Lechner's friends, either Betty Bailey or perhaps it was J.T. Martin and his wife Marie Martin, came over and informed um, Maria Lechner to be on guard because apparently the Carpenters had lost a pet snake. And not just any snake, this was a pet king snake, much like, or a cousin of one known as the cobra. So, whether they actually found it or not is uncertain. Perhaps it got away and escaped their house and into the woods. The next question is, did it survive all this time, as it is now the year 2020? Who can say? Perhaps because of the high humidity where cats were dying left and right because the humidity was so bad that it felt like somebody pouring warm water down your back when you were sweating, which was like back in the mid-late 70s. In which case, it couldn't be a close facsimile or similarity to the environment where the king cobra actually uh, lives. About the only, in theory, snakes that it could ever procreate with would be the American version of a king cobra, king snakes. But that would also mean then a whole new species. So you can see this could be something that unsettled the balance of nature in Arkansas State. Nobody's ever seen whether such an offspring of this snake mating with snakes of Arkansas has ever existed yet, or if they ever seen this snake, and no one seems to know how long can a cobra or a king snake live. It obviously would look for a mate, and like I said, in theory, the king snake of Arkansas State would probably be about the closest they could come to for mating. It is quite well known for spitting, much like the cobra, and if the poison sacs had been removed, they wouldn't have to worry about so much, but the bite itself would be like putting anywhere from a half inch to 1 inch fangs through the flesh. It would definitely scar you, or the other bacteria you could get infected with. If, on the other hand, that didn't lose its poison sacs, the question is how the Carpenters get one for a pet. That makes it even more dangerous. And the way it strikes is it stands up and flexes its neck like that of the cobra before it strikes. Or it'll simply open its mouth and spit at you, and if it gets in your eyes, you're going to be blind, not to mention paralyzed. So, who could say whether this thing is still wandering somewhere in the Waterloo woods, or expanded its territory and mated with closest of its kin, king snakes, and have a whole new species? I guess this would leave the door open to see if anybody has found new species which would have been a descendant or crossbred of this escaped pet cobra of the Carpenters. Hope, Arkansas was a place that sometimes we went shopping, if not Prescott. And since we had to put the property up for sale to move back to Washington, she decided to have us finish out our fourth grade year in Hope, Arkansas's private school, a Seventh Day Adventist private school. Miss Haper was one of my, only favorite teacher, I guess. And I was a member of the Pathfinder Club. We wore a uniform similar to maybe like the Band of Brothers when they weren't in battle, all khaki. You had the foldable hat or cover, khaki shirt, tie, slacks. We had our scarf, depending on the grade level of our membership. Pathfinders, unlike Boys Scouts and Girl Scouts, had both. And I was in the AJY, not yet JMB. I had a sash for earning honors. And we were known as the Millionaires Club. One time we did go to the Arkansas Hot Springs, where they had a Pathfinder competition with various Pathfinder clubs from as far back as Texas, Arkansas, and some other areas. Since her friend, who I don't know if she got reelected or not, as a county sheriff, had informed her that someone was looking for her, I guess she was worried that it could be the fact that since Mela, who I didn't know at the time was my mother, and my father as well, had been looking for me, it came to the time where we had Sabbath service in the Graveyard Arbor every Saturday. Eventually, we would buy property from the Springers, a large Mexican family in Farmington, Washington. A pastor of the Hope, Arkansas Seventh Day Adventist Church, known as Pastor Risk, did my, she was my grandmother, but we only knew her as Mom because of our illegal adoption, which we didn't know was illegal at the time. Pastor Risk bought the property in Waterloo, and so eventually that ended our time in the state of Arkansas. So that is the brief of my childhood growing up. I was robbed of my childhood growing up with my brothers and sisters. Even to this day, after Maria F. Lechner had passed on in Soldotna, Alaska on the Kenai Peninsula, I still have to contest the will. Kathleen Ross had basically told me that a court clerk burned the photo albums long ago. Aunt Maria didn't want me or John to go to the funeral. However, my father, once I finally knew where my father was at, had told Aunt Maria off about that. In any case, my contesting of the will be to the fact that the last time I spoke to Maria F. Lechner, before she had passed on later, that a yellow woven photo album, completely full of photos. Didn't matter if they were of me or people that were around before my time. She had envelopes with more photos and film stuck into it. That was to go to me. That was my inheritance. Then there was this green book, be it A Tale of Two Cities or Moby Dick, I don't know. But it was hardbound. My father had even confirmed that of its existence. What she didn't tell me, because either she forgot or decided that she would tell Sheila, who was standing beside me as my witness, who got to talk to Maria Lechner as well, is that there was a purple journal with her writings in it, possibly of life experiences, things she's thought about. And that was to go to me as well. So there were 3 things that I was to get. Now, unfortunately, all these years have passed. I don't believe there is a statute of limitations. And since I can't go into Doctor Who's time machine, I would be well in my legal right to sue Kathleen Ross, her husband Byron Ross, or whoever is responsible, for $50 million or sole ownership of Ross Industries, a fish country, which is supposed to be the Ross family. Because again, when a husband and wife marry, it's not just one person's property or another, it's communal property. And again, you can't replace photos. Now, I am alive, I was born, and to erase my existence is hogwash. It will not happen. Now, to avoid all this and the publicity, I think it would only be smart if Kathleen Ross was to send everything with nothing missing of the photo album to me. I lost at one time in 1999 contact with my brother Peter, but miraculously, not too long ago, found him on Facebook, and he confirmed he never got it. So that only leaves one person. One day I will have the money and I will go to Alaska. And Kathleen Ross is going to cough up that photo album, the hardbound green novel, and the journal, or they will be held to pay in a court of law. So this is the conclusion and ending of the first part of my growing up to the time that we moved to Farmington, Washington.